So where it is supposed to be, pelvic bone is on the lateral side. If I bring it to the middle, every abdomen will become shaped out. What is that called as the pubic?
Pubic symphysis.
That is called as pubic symphysis. Symphysis. Okay. Now listen to me very carefully. Now think about this. Now, pelvic bone in the anterior part of your body. How it is going to be. Now listen to me. Listen to me. If I make a skin incision here, right here, like if I cut open here, and what is the first organ I'm able to see? Bladder. What is the type of incision we making is called as? What is that called as, my dear students? What is the incision right above the pubic symphysis? See, if I consider this is someone's anterior abdominal wall, so the lower border of the anterior abdominal wall, this is your, which is that point? That is your pubic symphysis when we are looking from the front. Now, if I make an incision right here, which organ will be the first one you can find?
Bladder.
Only one student will say bladder. First, rest everybody, it will be
Bladder.
brain. Sab batao, which is that organ you are going to find? Of course, you are right. What is that organ? Urinary bladder. First organ is bladder. Okay. Now, the same incision is used in one more condition. What is that condition called as? That is used in LSCS. What is it called as? LSCS. That is called as lower segment cesarean section. What is that called as? Lower segment cesarean section. What happens once the mother gets pregnant? Once the mother gets pregnant, the uterus will become bulged and enlarged like this. What is going to happen? It will press the bladder down. If I cut open, I'll be find the uterus, so I'll be able to take out the baby easily. That is why I'm using that incision. What is the name of that incision? Can anybody tell me? Marrow prep ladder. Fatafat batao. What is the name of that incision? Write down. That is called as Pfeffenstein's incision. What is that called as? What is the name of the incision called as? Everybody repeat. What is the name of the incision? Pfeffenstein's incision. What is the name of the incision? Pfeffenstein incision. Everybody clear so far? What is the name of the incision? Pfeffenstein's incision. Okay. Now, what I was talking to you people about this type of fistula, which is connecting the rectum and the vagina. What is that called as? Rectovaginal fistula. What happens? Only symptom of rectovaginal fistula. Symptom of rectovaginal fistula. There will be stools, stool masses coming from where? Stool masses will be coming from where?
Vagina.
Vagina. From the vagina. Okay. What will be the treatment? Just remove this fistula. Remove this fistula. Okay. Now we have one more type of fistula. What is that fistula? What is that? Uterovesical fistula. What is that? Uterovesical fistula. What is that uterovesicular fistula? So it is what? It will be what? That will be fistula between the bladder. That is what? Uterus to the bladder. Vesic means bladder. So uterovesicular fistula, it is connecting from where to where? From the uterus to the bladder. What happens during menstruation? Menstrual blood will go into what?
Urine.
Urine. So what is going to happen during menstruation? Urine will also turn red in color. Urine will also turn red in color. This is your uterovesicular fistula. Clear everybody? This finishes completely about the discussion of your, what is the topic? That will be your, what is the fistulas. Okay. So once we are done with that fistulas, we are going to get into the next important topic. What is the name of the topic? What is the name of the topic? That will be called as your what is that? PCOS. So how many of you know about anything about whatever you know about PCOS? Tell me. Anything you know about PCOS, please tell me. And whatever you know about PCOS. If you people are quiet, you know that the class will not continue. I just keep asking. Tell me, what do you know about PCOS? What and all you know? What is PCOS?
It will cause
Polycystic ovarian syndrome.
Okay, so there are multiple cysts in polycystic ovarian syndrome. Then it will cause what?
Infertility.
Infertility. Okay, then
Hirsutism.
Tumor.
it should.
And obesity, increase in weight also.
Okay, obesity. Then
Tumor.
Irregular menstrual cycle.
what is that?
Infertility.
Infertility. Okay, then tell me. So let's start with this PCOS, polycystic ovarian syndrome. Now, when I'm talking about polycystic ovarian syndrome, guys, look here. This is a disorder in which everything starts from this thing. Let's start with the pathophysiology. The pathophysiology behind PCOS is basically insulin resistance, my dear. Insulin resistance. Okay, if insulin resistance occurs, the complete problem is going to start here. So what is that problem? Look here, if insulin resistance is there, so what happens to the blood glucose level? Blood
Increase.
glucose. Very good. Increase of the blood glucose. Okay. If there is an increase of the blood glucose, what is going to happen, my dear students? Now listen to me. Very important. The high blood glucose level in young females, it will cause impaired liver function. Impaired liver function means once it will start to affect the activity of the liver, which exactly the activity which will be affected, which is that exactly? You people can't see writing?
No,
Okay.
yeah.
Oh, you should have told me, right? Now, okay.
Yeah, we can see now.
Now listen to me. We have insulin resistance because of which increased glucose. So we have impaired liver function. Now liver function impairs, leading to what? Leading to decrease of something called as SIBG production. SIBG production. What is this SIBG? SIBG is your what? Sex hormone binding globulin. Sex hormone binding globulin. Once sex hormone binding globulin decreases, what will happen, my dear students? Please tell me. What will happen? Please tell me. If SIBG decreases, there will be what? There will be one important thing that will be leading to what? Decrease of estrogen. Decrease of estrogen. Once decrease of estrogen occurs, what will happen, my dear students? Estrogen decreases,
No.
which hormone will come into the role here? Which hormone will? Estrogen come over. If
Sorry.
estrogen goes down, so to produce the estrogen, who is going to come now? Please tell me.
Testosterone.
FSH, follicular. So increase of follicular stimulating hormone. Once FSH increases, that is going to cause what? That is going to cause increase of E1, my dear students. Why E1? Because in polycystic ovarian syndrome, knowingly or unknowingly, there will be impaired function of ovary. Impaired ovary also. If ovaries are impaired, if ovary is impaired, what is going to happen? There will be high level of E1, but not E2. Estrogen is what? Estradiol will be decreased, but estrone will be increased because ovary is the one who produces estradiol. Now that ovary is damaged. If the ovary is damaged, now your peripheral fat tissue will produce E1. Now, if E1 is more, E1 will cause what? E1 will do one more again problem. It will give negative feedback to FSH. At the same time, it will give positive feedback to LH. Everybody clear so far? Pakka? Now listen to me very carefully. Now listen to me very carefully. At the same time, it is not just it. Okay, the story is not over it. If there is a insulin resistance, that will lead to decrease of fat in the body or increase of fat in the body, my dear students.
Increase.
Increase of
Increase.
fat.
Very good.
Increase.
Obesity. Okay. If there is a obesity, now obesity means more of cholesterol in the periphery. Yes or no? Yes or no? If more of
Yes.
cholesterol in the periphery, that will also produce peripheral fat can produce even peripheral fat can produce estrogen. Now again, that estrogen is doing what? This activity. Everybody clear so far? Okay, now high quantity of LH, high quantity of LH, what is going to happen? High quantity of LH, what is going to happen? Basically, the problem will become like this. So FSH gone down later on. Once FSH go down, do you have ovulation or anovulation?
No.
Anovulation. Why anovulation? Because during the menstrual cycle, I taught you people, FSH is doing what?
Oh,
FSH causes ovulation or selection of the follicle. It will do selection of the follicle. So because FSH is doing selection of the follicle and you don't have FSH, that is going to cause anovulation. If there is anovulation, basically LH will remain increased. So FSH to LH ratio, normally what is this? Listen to me very carefully. In a normal female, FSH quantity will be usually more than LH. Usually, this is how it occurs. But here it will become what? Reverse. FSH will be less than LH because of this one. So, what happens to FSH LH ratio? It will become reverse or it will remain normal as before?
Reverse.
Reverse. Okay. Now, apart from this, LH can do what? LH can cause the production of testosterone. LH can cause the production of testosterone, because of which what can happen? Hirsutism. Okay. Apart from that, please tell me what happens to the facial hair, my dear students. Facial hair will also become more. Facial hair also becomes more. So what happens to this particular affection? Because of all these things, it will also cause psychiatrical symptoms. What is psychiatrical symptoms? Psychiatric symptoms, because the reason is very simple. Why psychiatric symptoms? Because of alteration of hormones that will lead to mood swings and irritated tendency. Now please tell me one important aspect. What are the problems in this female? One of them is anovulation. Another one, does she have a regular periods or irregularity of periods now?
Irregularity.
Period. So if I want to diagnose, how will I diagnose? Diagnosis of the PCOS is based on what?
History or ultrasound?
Rotterdam criteria. What is the name of the criteria? Rotterdam criteria. Why we call it as Rotterdam criteria? Rotterdam is what? Rotterdam is what? What is Rotterdam? Rotterdam is a city name. Rotterdam is a city name. Now, Rotterdam is a city name. What happens is that in the Rotterdam was the big meeting which was held for all the doctors. There they decided that this criteria, what is that Rotterdam criteria? Rotterdam criteria includes few following things. What are those few following things? One of them is a irregular periods. Okay. Apart from irregular periods, what else is there in the Rotterdam criteria? That is your biochemical changes. What are the biochemical changes? Can anybody tell me, please?
Highlighted
Guys,
profile.
hormonal profile, biochemical changes, and another one is ultrasound changes. Ultrasound changes. On the ultrasound, what you are going to find? You are going to find multiple cysts on the ovary. Multiple cysts on the ovary. Everybody clear so far? Now, in this Rotterdam criteria, do you need to have all three of them or any two to diagnose?
Any two. Any
Very
two.
good. Any two. So if a female has these two symptoms, but USG is normal, can you call it as PCOS?
Yes.
Yes.
Everybody. Yes. So for PCOS, is there any rule that these things has to be present? Which are those? Cyst has to be present. No, there is no rule like that. There is no rule like that. So these are the important diagnostic techniques. Followed by that, let's get into the treatment of PCOS. So what are the treatment of PCOS? What is the treatment of PCOS? First thing, we need to maintain the menstrual cycle. How can you maintain the menstrual cycle? Menstrual cycle can be corrected with what? Very good. Which is that? Oral contraceptive pills. Oral contraceptive pills. Apart from oral contraceptive pills, what else we can use, my dear students? Please tell me. What else we need to treat? We need to treat an ovulation. An ovulation. How we are going to treat an ovulation? Can you tell me? With the help of a drug that is called as letrozole. Letrozole. What is this letrozole? It is a type of ovulation inducing drug. Ovulation inducing drug. Okay. Apart from ovulation inducing drug, so will you give this ovulation inducing drug to a young female on a regular basis or when she is ready to conceive? When will you give? When will you give this drug? Please tell me. When will you give this drug? When she is ready to conceive or every day you give?
When she is ready.
To conceive.
Whenever the female is married and when she is ready, when her family, when the couple is ready to have the baby, that is the time you give these drugs. Okay. Apart from an ovulation, we use one more important drug. That is the name of the drug that is called as to treat the insulin resistance. So it was approved around 2015, I think. Okay, insulin resistance in the females with the PCOS, we can use this drug for insulin resistance. What is the drug? What is the drug which we can use for insulin resistance in PCOS? Metformin. What is the name of the drug? What is the name of the drug? Metformin.
Metformin.
Where do we use metformin? Apart from here, where else we can use metformin?
Diabetes.
Diabetes.
Diabetes mellitus. Diabetes mellitus. So these are the most important things which we use in the treatment of your PCOS female. PCOS female. After we use ovulation induction agent, what will be the side effect of this ovulation induction agent? I give a ovulation agent. Okay. Now that couple had a intercourse. After they had the intercourse, now what can happen? Ovulation inducer. So one ova will come or multiple ova will come?
Multiple ova will come.
Multiple ova will come and semen is filled with millions of sperms. If semen is filled with millions of sperms, there is a high tendency that multiple ova get fertilized. So what is going to happen? That will lead to one thing that is called as multiple pregnancy. What is that? What is that? Multiple pregnancy. Everybody clear so far? Everybody clear so far?
Yes, we are.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Now listen to me very carefully. Once we are done with this, we need to understand the important aspects related to PCOS comes in this metabolic panel. Okay. So in this females, there is a important aspects because of insulin resistance. The female might have hyperlipidemia and hyperglycemia. Okay. Apart from that, she can have mood-related symptoms. We have to treat that also. And the most important thing, we need to advise the female for the physical exercise. Physical exercise. Apart from physical exercise, we need to advise the female for the dietary changes. Dietary changes. Low sugar or high sugar diet.
Low sugar.
Low sugar diet. Low sugar diet. So these are the most important aspects. So Tume is here. This time you people might get this question from here, from the Rotterdam criteria associated with PCOS. So please be very careful. If there is a cyst, then it is PCOS. If there is no cyst, also it can be PCOS. So make sure you follow the Rotterdam criteria. Everybody clear so far?
Yes, Bhaiya.
Okay. So this finishes our PCOS. Once we are done with PCOS, let's discuss one important aspect that is called as endometriosis. That is called as endometriosis. What is endometriosis, guys? What is endometriosis?
Yes.
What is endometriosis? That is your ectopic endometrium. Ectopic endometrium. When talking about ectopic endometrium, where exactly this can ectopic to? It can go to anywhere in the body. Anywhere in the body. So where and all ectopic endometrium can be present, that is given with few theories of the ectopic endometrium. Okay. Now these theories are very important, which can be asked as a multiple choice question. But sadness is none of them are completely good. Okay. Now, most important one that is called as Sampson's theory. What is that called as? Sampson's theory. What is the Sampson's theory of ectopic endometrium? So this fellow started to say one thing that is called as what? That is called as what? That is called as retrograde menstruation. What is that called as? Retrograde menstruation. Retrograde menstruation. What is the retrograde menstruation? My dear students, look here. This is a uterus. Let's consider this is the uterus of the female. Wait. Let me make a better picture. Okay. Now, let's consider this is the uterus of the female. Now, what happens during the periods? What should happen? The blood whichever is going out, that is necrotized endometrial tissue. Whichever which is going out, which is supposed to go down from the cervix into the vagina. But instead of that, these fellows said that there is possibility that it will enter the fallopian tube. The fallopian tube is like this here, and it is ending like this, right? So this fallopian tube, through this fallopian tube, the menstrual blood is going, and because of which this process occurred slowly, and endometrial tissue started to grow outside of the fallopian tube. That's what this said. So this is only called as retrograde because it is going in the reverse direction. Okay. Now Sampson's theory, okay, but there is one more guy. That guy's name was called as Halben's theory. This fellow Halben came up and he said that endometrium undergoes metastasis. Endometrium undergoes what, my dear students? Metastasis. What is this metastasis of endometrium? These guys started to say that this endometrium is spreading like a cancer. Endometrial tissue is going, okay? Means what he said, normal endometrial tissue entered into the bloodstream and gone all the way into somewhere else. That is what this fellow said. So whatever this fellow said, it has a logic in this. Why it has a logic in this? Because if there is a metastasis, can it go to any part of the body? Can you tell me yes or no?
Yes.
Yes, if it can go to any part of the body, so there can be going into lung, possible. into brain. Possible. Okay. Now we have these rare cases of ectopic endometrium. Possible that whenever the female has menstruation, that time she is also having hemoptysis. That is, hemoptysis is nothing but what? Cough with sputum. Cough with sputum. That's what these guys started to say, and it has some logic. So this ectopic endometrium that might be occurring due to metastasis, that is only called as Halben's theory of metastasis. Halben's theory of metastasis. And we have one more theory that is called as Mayer and Ivanov theory. Mayer and Ivanov theory. What is that Mayer and Ivanov theory? These people started to say that there is peritoneal cells. Peritoneal cells are converting themselves into endometrial cells. Okay. Now these are the three theories, among which, for me personally, I feel these two are more logical, Sampson's and Halben's, but Mayer and Ivanov, I don't think so. But these are the theories, but none of them are completely proven in the ectopic endometriosis. Even though they are not proven, our examiners are dumb dashes. They will ask the theoretical questions. What is Halben's theory of endometriosis? Why जब prove ही नहीं हुआ तो पूछेगा काहे पता नहीं, but still they do ask. Okay, so this is the story of your theories of endometriosis. If a female has a endometriosis, what are the symptoms of the endometriosis? What are the symptoms of the endometriosis? The symptoms of the endometriosis are very important aspects. That important aspect of point number one, is there normal location or abnormal location of endometrial cells?
Abnormal.
If abnormal location, if there is a bleeding from one particular location, that might lead to pain. That is only called as secondary dysmenorrhea. Secondary dysmenorrhea. What is primary dysmenorrhea? What is primary dysmenorrhea? Please tell me. Primary dysmenorrhea, what is it? Primary dysmenorrhea with organic pathology or without organic pathology?
Without.
Without.
Organic
Now,
pathology.
you have an organic pathology, that is ectopic endometrium. So if you have an organic pathology that is causing dysmenorrhea, it is secondary to ectopic endometrium. Clear? So apart from pain, there is one more condition which you need to remember, that is called as dyspareunia. What is dyspareunia? Dyspareunia. Dyspareunia. What is dyspareunia? That is called as pain during what? During a sexual intercourse. Okay. Apart from dyspareunia, the female might also develop, what is the problem? Infertility. Why infertility? You'll understand in 1 minute, that is during the diagnostics. All right, everybody. So far everything is clear. Dysmenorrhea, dyspareunia, and infertility.
Yes.
Paka. 100% positive.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So let's start discussing about female coming with these symptoms. Female comes with these symptoms, we need to diagnose. So when we need to diagnose this, what are the diagnostic techniques we can use? We can use ultrasonography. Agreed. Ultrasonography. Agreed. But will ultrasonography be very informative or not? What do you think? Will ultrasonography?
No.
No. Why not? So basically, on ultrasonography, you have this ovary. If there is a ovarian ectopic endometriosis, we are talking. Okay, this ovary will look like ground glass, will look like a ground glass. Why it will look like a ground glass? The reason is very simple. Look here, if this is the ovary. Now inside this ovary, there is a ectopic endometrium. If there is a ectopic endometrium, now every menstrual cycle there was a bleeding into the ovary. If there was a bleeding into the ovary, it would have formed something like hematoma like this. Yes or no? Yes or no? If there is a hematoma like this, that hematoma on ultrasound, it will look ground glass. Which is the best way to do ultrasound? Transvaginal or transabdominal?
Transvaginal.
Vaginal.
Very good. Transvaginal ultrasound is the best. So, but by ultrasound, you just see the ground glass appearance, no diagnostics. So, what we are going to do, we need to go for the best investigation. The best investigation will be your laparoscopy. Laparoscopy. So, when we are talking about laparoscopic findings, take a break of 5 minutes. After 5 minutes break, let's get to the laparoscopic findings. All right.
Okay.